Jessa Duggar revealed second husband Ben's Sewald divorce. $1.1 million debt. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. For Duggar family latest news update, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. It all started with whispers, rumors that Jessa Duggar Sewald, once considered one of the most grounded daughters of Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, was facing the darkest chapter of her life. Fans who had followed the Duggar family since 19 kids and counting were stunned when the headline broke. Jessa Duggar reveals second husband Ben's Sewald divorce confirmed. The shocking story didn't end there. According to insiders, Jessa and Ben's marriage had crumbled under the crushing weight of $1.1 million debt, a financial disaster no one expected from the once picture-perfect couple. What followed was a storm of betrayal, heartbreak, and surprising new beginnings, the perfect beginning. Jessa Duggar married Ben Sewald in November 2014 in what fans considered a fairy tale wedding. Cameras captured the soft glow of candlelight, the smiles of her enormous family, and the quiet determination of Ben, who was just 19 at the time, to the outside world. They were a love story built on faith and simplicity. Ben was kind-hearted, soft-spoken, and adored Jessa deeply. Together, they welcomed 4 children, Spurgeon, Henry, Ivy, and Fern. But behind the cameras, behind the picture-perfect Instagram posts, there were struggles. The cracks began to show. By 2021, subtle tension between Jessa and Ben became visible. Friends whispered that Jessa had grown frustrated with Ben's lack of ambition. While Ben took odd jobs and occasionally preached, their growing family required far more financial stability. Jim Bob Duggar, always known for controlling his children's lives, reportedly scolded Ben multiple times for not stepping up. Jessa often defended her husband publicly, but privately, she too wondered if they could survive under constant financial stress. Things worsened when Ben's small business venture, a Christian book and coffee shop, collapsed after just 8 months. The investment had been risky, and when the doors shut, the Seewalds were already drowning in loans. The debt spiral. $1.1 million disaster by 2023. Court records revealed something shocking. Jessa and Ben were in $1.1 million debt. The majority came from loans from Jim Bob Duggar to support Ben's failed business, a mortgage on their Fayetteville home that they could no longer afford, medical bills from complications during Jessa's last pregnancy. Ben was devastated. He had tried to keep the financial problems quiet, but when Jim Bob found out, he exploded in anger. For Jim Bob, appearances mattered more than anything, and the thought of one of his daughters being publicly humiliated by debt was unbearable. The breaking point: divorce. Friends close to Jessa admitted that the breaking point wasn't money alone. It was trust. Jessa discovered that Ben had secretly taken out a second loan in her name, hoping to cover the family's mounting bills. When she confronted him, the argument shook their marriage to the core. Ben broke down, confessing that he was ashamed and afraid to admit failure. Jessa, furious but heartbroken, realized she no longer recognized the man she had married. By early 2024, the rumors were true. Jessa filed for divorce. Shockwaves in the Duggar family. The Duggar family was split. Jim Bob and Michelle were furious. Divorce was forbidden in their world, and Jessa's choice threatened the image of their family brand. Jim Bob reportedly told her, "You're bringing shame on us." Jinger Vuolo, now living in California and more independent, defended Jessa, saying, "Sometimes walking away is the only way to protect yourself and your children." Jill Duggar Dillard, who had also broken away from the family's strict rules, stood firmly beside her sister. Josh Duggar's imprisonment only made things worse, as critics claimed the Duggar family was falling apart piece by piece. Fans were stunned. Was Jessa, the once loyal, obedient Duggar daughter, really divorcing Ben? The revelation, a second husband? Then came the most shocking twist of all. Just months after her divorce, Jessa appeared at a small Arkansas church event wearing a new diamond ring. At her side was a man few recognized, Daniel Hart, a 34-year-old Christian entrepreneur from Texas. Daniel was everything Ben wasn't: financially stable, ambitious, confident. He had built a successful chain of Christian bookstores across Texas and Oklahoma. He reportedly met Jessa through mutual friends in ministry. At first, The Duggar family tried to deny the relationship, but Jessa, no longer under Jim Bob's thumb, confirmed it herself during a quiet interview. "Yes, Daniel and I are together. He's been a blessing in my life and has given me strength during my hardest times." The internet exploded. Fans react. Support and outrage. Social media went into meltdown mode. Some praised Jessa. She deserves happiness. She suffered long enough. Others criticized. She moved on too fast. What about her kids? Conservative Duggar fans were horrified. This is against God's will. Meanwhile, Ben Sewald remained silent for weeks, only posting Bible verses about forgiveness and trials. Finally, in a raw social media video, he admitted, "I failed Jessa. I let pride get in the way. I will always love her, but I pray she finds peace." The $1.1 million shadow. Even as Jessa began a new chapter, the debt lingered like a shadow. Reports suggested Daniel Hart helped pay off part of the debt, offering Jessa a financial lifeline. Critics accused her of marrying him for money, but friends insisted their connection was genuine. Jim Bob, however, was furious. He accused Daniel of stealing his daughter and destroying what little was left of the Duggar family's reputation. The Duggar legacy in crisis. BY mid-2025, the Duggar family name was in ruins. Josh Duggar remained in prison. Jill and Jinga had distanced themselves completely. Jana was unmarried at 35 and facing her own scandals, and now Jessa, the golden child, had divorced and remarried. The carefully crafted Duggar image of purity, obedience, and family unity had shattered. Yet for Jessa, something new was beginning. Jessa's new chapter, in a heartfelt online post, Jessa finally shared her truth. "For years, I lived in fear. Fear of disappointing my family, fear of being judged, fear of failing. But I've learned that failure is not the end. It's the beginning of finding your true self. My children deserve a strong, secure home. I may not have chosen this path, but I believe God led me here." She announced her engagement to Daniel officially in July 2025, confirming that they would wed in a small, private ceremony. Ben's future. Ben, meanwhile, focused on rebuilding his life. He moved into a small apartment, worked as a youth pastor, and saw his children on weekends. Though heartbroken, he told friends he was committed to co-parenting peacefully. "I lost my marriage, but I won't lose my kids," he said. The world watches. AS tabloids continue to dissect every detail of Jessa's new life. One thing is clear: the Duggar family empire will never be the same. What was once seen as a model of Christian family values has crumbled into a web of betrayal, scandal, and reinvention. But for Jessa, maybe, just maybe, this was freedom. Jason Duggar's wife, Maddie, explains why they're waiting to have kids. Jason Duggar and his wife, Maddie Duggar, open up about why they are waiting to have children. During an appearance on his sister Jinger Duggar and her husband Jeremy Voilo's Jinger and Jeremy podcast on Wednesday, August 13th, Jason, 25, initially faked out his sister by pretending he and Maddie were expecting their first child. "No, he does that to me all the time," Maddie, 21, quickly clarified. "We are not expecting at all. We are not trying to be expecting." Jason then asked fans of the Duggars to stop saying the newlyweds were trying to be expecting because that's not currently the case. Jason and Maddie tied the knot at the estate at Tennessee's Sweetwater Creek in October 2024. What the Duggar children have said about potentially having 19 kids. "I am trying to finish up school," Maddie pointed out. While the couple love babies, Maddie and Jason agreed that they want to enjoy being newlyweds before focusing on starting a family. "We love kids. We get baby fever," she admitted. "But I want to wait, and I want to just enjoy this time. I can always get pregnant later on, Lord willing. Right now, we just want to chill." Maddie said she felt it was important to devote enough time to settling into her marriage since she and Jason are still getting to know each other. "We know each other, but we're still getting to know each other. In the first year of your marriage," she said, "I'm going to wait until after school. I have 1 year of school left." Maddie continued, "I graduate next May, and I don't want to worry about a baby before then. I think we've got some time immediately. No babies. No babies at all. We just babysit and get humbled whenever we do babysit." Jeremy, 37, encouraged the young couple to get their judgment out now by watching misbehaving children in public places, so they know what to expect when they do become parents. say things like we would never let our kids do that yes or no ma and that kind of stuff because once you have the babies, you won't be able to do that anymore, Jeremy warned them. Enjoy it because when you have the babies, it's a judgment-free zone. Jason concurred, all that is out the window. Jason Duggar's wedding reception included a first for the Duggar family. Earlier this year, Maddie addressed speculation that she was a crazy fangirl of the 19 kids and counting family before she got together with Jason. I am a fan of Jason now, but no, I was not a crazy fangirl, she insisted in an April YouTube Q&A before explaining, my family did watch a few episodes, like on a beach vacation randomly. So I was on TikTok one day and I was scrolling along, and it was a video of where each of the Duggar kids is now. I was like, oh, I remember them. I've seen them before. The two eventually connected over social media, with Jason developing feelings for Maddie partially because of their shared religious commitment. She loves the Lord and she's, like, normal, and that's when it clicked, Jason remembered. Jinger and Jeremy releases new episodes every Wednesday. Jason and Maddie Duggar reveal their plans to start a family less than 1 year after wedding. Marrying into the Duggar family usually means becoming subject to a lot of speculation about babies and family size. It's only natural for people to wonder if Michelle Duggar's kids are going to follow in her footsteps and have their own double-digit brood of children. But as far as Jason Duggar and his wife Maddie are concerned, they'd rather be left out of that particular conversation, especially for now. Maddie and Jason opened up about their family plans this week. While appearing on Jason's sister Jinga Duggar's podcast, he and his wife shared that their plans for having a baby are to not have one. For now, anyway, we are not expecting at all. We're not trying to be expecting, Maddie said, while Jason chimed in, stop saying we're expecting. That's for whoever is listening. There are things they want to accomplish before having children. For Maddie, who is 21, that means finishing up school before she becomes a mom, which means that any baby plans are on hold at least until after she graduates next. Made it, I want to just enjoy this time. She said that I can always get pregnant later on, Lord willing. But right now, we just want to chill. We're still getting to know each other. We know each other, but you're still getting to know each other in the first year of marriage. Jason and Maddie also talked about how they got together. Elsewhere in the podcast, the couple explained that after they first started talking over DM on Instagram, they eventually began to chat over FaceTime. But since they both felt uncomfortable being themselves at first, they agreed they would just be friends. That I was like, hey, I just see us as being friends. Because I was like, I just don't see this going anywhere. I just see us as being friends. And really what it was is we were both, you say it all the time, we were both really uncomfortable just because I felt like we couldn't be real with each other, Jason said. It's like we put up a front. It didn't take long for their friendship to turn romantic, but with all romantic pressure off, Maddie and Jason were able to come out of their shell a little, and it was only a matter of days before they both realized that they wanted something more than friendship. Maybe it was some things in the past that I hadn't worked through, and I maybe took that out on you a little bit at first. But I started to realize, I think, when you're honest, and when you're real with each other, when you don't put up a front, then I just started to realize that it really was you that I wanted to spend my life with. Get to know better, Jason said. And now, as we know, they tied the knot that October, less than a year after they started talking, and now they're still going strong. Michelle Duggar and Jim Bob Duggar finally separated. Michelle Duggar arrest. The Duggar family had always lived under the public eye. From the days of 19 kids and counting to the endless interviews and controversies, the name Duggar carried weight. But what unfolded in the late summer of 2025 was unlike anything the family had ever endured before. For years, the cracks in the facade had been widening, but now the whole foundation was threatening to collapse. It began with whispers, small, scattered reports across tabloids, social media speculation, and videos on YouTube with clickbait titles. Michelle Duggar in trouble. Some questioned what happened at the Duggar house. Others demanded. At first, the family ignored it as they always did. But soon, the whispers turned into a roar that none of them could silence. Michelle's arrest. On a humid Thursday evening in Arkansas, police cars pulled up to the Duggar compound. Neighbors peeked from behind curtains, unable to believe what they were seeing. Michelle Duggar, the matriarch who had always been portrayed as calm, soft-spoken, and endlessly nurturing, was being led away in handcuffs. The scene was surreal. Anna Duggar, already burdened with her husband Josh's scandals, was clutching her children tightly on the front lawn. trying to keep them from crying. Jessa ran outside barefoot, her husband Ben trailing behind her in disbelief. Jana stood frozen near the porch, her hand covering her mouth. Jim Bob, usually the one barking orders and presenting himself as the leader, stood helpless, his face drained of color. "Michelle Duggar, you're under arrest for fraud and obstruction of justice," one of the officers said firmly as they read her rights. Cameras flashed. Michelle's arrest was not the result of a sudden investigation. It had been brewing quietly for months. According to court documents, she had allegedly hidden financial assets, manipulated property records, and interfered in one of Josh's ongoing legal proceedings. Whether she had acted on her own or had been pressured by Jim Bob remained unclear, but the authorities had enough evidence to move forward. The betrayal within. The most shocking revelation, however, wasn't Michelle's arrest itself. It was the betrayal behind it. Someone inside the Duggar circle had tipped off investigators, providing emails, bank documents, and detailed testimonies. The betrayal tore through the family like wildfire. Jim Bob demanded answers. His children avoided eye contact. And then it came out. Jill Dillard, who had long been estranged from her parents, had finally drawn a line. "I love my mom, but enough is enough," Jill explained in a statement later. "We were raised to believe that truth mattered, that honesty before God was more important than anything. I couldn't stand by and watch lies destroy more lives. Protecting wrongdoings isn't biblical, it's enabling." Jessa felt torn. She had always defended her parents, often to her own detriment. But even she couldn't deny the growing pile of evidence. Joanna broke down in tears. The betrayal wasn't only Jill's doing. Reports also surfaced that John David, usually quiet and private, had cooperated with investigators too. He and his wife Abby had grown weary of Jim Bob's financial manipulation, especially after discovering that much of the money from the TLC days had been hidden away in secret accounts. Jim Bob's house sailed. If Michelle's arrest and the betrayal weren't enough, the Duggar empire suffered another devastating blow. Jim Bob announced that he was selling their massive Arkansas property, the family's iconic house, for $1.5 million. The house wasn't just a building. It was a symbol of everything the Duggars had built their brand upon: large family life, Christian values, the American dream. Millions of viewers had watched as the children grew up within its walls. Selling it felt like selling off a piece of their identity, but Jim Bob had no choice. Legal fees were piling up. Michelle's bail alone had cost a fortune. Several properties were under investigation. He had already drained much of his savings defending Josh in past years. Now, with Michelle's charges looming, he couldn't keep up. $1.5 million for the Duggar house? "That's it," one Reddit thread exclaimed. "They're desperate," another user replied. "Imagine growing up in that house and now it's gone." Inside the family, emotions boiled over. "Dad, you can't just sell the house. It's our childhood." Jinger cried over a phone call from Los Angeles. "I don't have a choice," Jim Bob snapped, pacing the living room with paperwork in hand. "Do you think this is easy for me? Everything I've built is crumbling. If I don't sell, the bank will take it anyway." A family in shambles. The once tightly controlled image of the Duggar family was shattered. TLC, already long parted from them, issued a statement distancing itself further. Old supporters who had defended Michelle in the past now struggled to reconcile the gentlewoman they saw on TV with the one accused of fraud. Family gatherings grew tense. Thanksgiving, normally a massive event, was reduced to a small, awkward dinner. Anna Duggar, broken and exhausted, finally admitted in private to a friend, "I can't do this anymore. It feels like every time I try to stay strong, another storm hits." Ben Sewald, who had always tried to be diplomatic, quietly started pulling away from Jim Bob's authority. He wanted his kids raised in faith, but not under the shadow of constant scandal. The younger Duggar children, many still living at home, were confused. They asked why cameras showed their mother in handcuffs, why the house they grew up in was suddenly being packed into boxes. The answers never satisfied them. Michelle's struggle. In jail, Michelle remained eerily calm. Some said it was her faith keeping her steady. Others thought it was denial. She prayed out loud in her cell, reading her Bible daily, but her letters to her children revealed glimpses of fear. My dear ones, I never wanted to hurt any of you.
Please pray for me.
I believe God will deliver us, but even if not, we must remain faithful. Her words sparked debates online. Was she truly innocent, a victim of Jim Bob's leadership? Or was she complicit, knowingly helping cover lies? Jill, reading the letter, wept. I still love her, she whispered to Derek. But love doesn't erase the truth. Public backlash.